Hey, babe. We are
Hey.
back for reactions until further notice, whatever this is called, Pouncils podcast,
Wow.
whatever we want at this point.
Yep.
So today we got a couple topics on the docket. First thing, the top moments from Kobe, KG, Duncan, and the 2020 Basketball Hall of Fame induction. Did you know Kobe got inducted
I
into the
knew he
Basketball Hall of
was
Fame?
I knew he was gonna get inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I also saw something on YouTube from his wife and his
Yeah.
daughter. But I didn't know it was like all of that. I saw all of that, but it didn't seem like, oh yeah, when is that? Blah blah blah. You know me, I'm in my own world.
Yeah. So we all know, unfortunately, Kobe passed away last year, and one of the things that they did was they kind of immediately inducted him into the Hall of Fame. So the much anticipated class of 2020 was finally enshrined in a ceremony at the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame on Saturday. So you know
Mhm.
there's a bunch of different Hall
Yeah.
of Fame, not a bunch, but there's like the
Yes.
NBA,
Yes.
then there's like they're all the big guy
Yeah.
basketball, everything basketball, it's men and women, everybody can get in there, right?
Yeah.
So boasting arguably the most star-studded enshrines in history, the nine-person class was headlined by Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan. They were joined by Tamika Catchings, Eddie Sutton, Rudy Tomjanovich, Kim Merkley, Barbara Stevens, and Patrick Bahaman. Bahuman.
Okay.
Okay, yep.
That person.
That person,
Wait,
yeah. So what do you think? What do you think
are you supposed to be
about
recording
this?
this screen?
It is recording.
Okay, cool. I don't know. Um,
They wants to make sure we're recording.
yeah, because I see his button over
All eyes were going to be on Bryant in this ceremony. The Los Angeles Lakers icon was voted into the Hall of Fame 2 months after his death in a helicopter crash, January 26, 2020.
there. Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about Kobe. That's my main.
What was your, so when it happened last year, how did you feel during that time?
Oh my God, that was so crazy. I was
Yeah.
sleeping.
Yeah, you were on the
I
couch.
was on the couch sleeping, and you just,
I
first
was,
of all, waking somebody up out of sleep to tell them
what?
their favorite basketball player ever has died in a car
I
accident
was
in a
a
helicopter.
little numb.
Perhaps it's not the way I would have liked to receive that
How would you
news.
like to receive it in the
I
future?
don't know now. Like it's done. It's done
Yeah,
now. It's done.
it's
But
how do you
it was just
deliver?
like that was a lot. Like it was,
Yeah.
and you have sleep, so it's kind of like,
Huh?
what is he talking
What? She's
about?
like,
What?
huh?
Huh?
She's like, did
I'm
you
like,
in a
no.
dream? Right. And that was the thing. I'm like, it's who's gonna believe that Kobe, the guy who was vibrant with life after his playing career had died,
I was
right?
definitely like, absolutely not. This is not true.
Yeah.
And it was really challenging because I love Kobe. That's like my favorite. Like I don't rep no team or nothing, but Kobe. That's like
That's it.
the only basketball player that is consistently who I ride with, and it's just he's just so dope. Even how I'm talking about him, right? Like he's just so dope. Like it's not even like past or whatever. So talented, and I also always felt like he was somewhat misunderstood by people
Why do you say
because I often feel
that?
understood by people in the past, and I can relate to that. I think he was in the limelight and he made decisions about his life,
Why
how
do
he
you
moved
think he was
things,
misunderstood?
because he didn't let people in like that. I think a big part of him was like he kept his distance with stuff and with people, and I think even some players talk about that with him. Like
Yeah.
he never really let them in, and I think that might have been part of
Okay, I
his
see you.
defense mechanism
Yeah,
to
yeah.
kind of deal with after what happened, earlier in his career and even in his marriage too. It was just a lot, and I think with celebrities, people lose sight that they're people too. Number one,
Yeah.
and Kobe was relatively young when that whole thing happened with in his marriage, and he got a big thing with the news and
Uh-huh.
Mamba had to be born to come back to come to
Did he
play.
talk about that in a documentary or something? Did you watch
Um,
something on
yeah, I think he
Kobe?
did talk a little bit about that in a documentary
Yeah.
too. So
I
I
think he was misunderstood because I think he got to the Mamba mentality. People,
people don't know
his
how to deal with
strategy
that.
was to like make you even feel intimidated on and off the court.
Yeah,
Like he was not gonna let anybody
yeah.
one up him. Like he was gonna outwork everybody. And I think that's the
Hmm.
part that he get misunderstood. Because when he died, I was actually sadder than I thought I would be. Being that's not necessarily my favorite, player. He was always going against probably the other players that I was, and that was only a big LA fan.
You wasn't.
So
can't tell you that now. LeBron is there, but that's not what this episode is about.
Right.
But I was really sad. I was really sad because I really was looking forward to what he was gonna do.
Yeah, because he was talking about doing like
he got an Oscar
yeah.
for an animated film, and he probably was gonna resuscitate his rapping career at some point.
Do you remember the Kobe bars?
No, I don't remember. But that's how he met his wife. That's how he met Vanessa. But it's really challenging because we still associate death with being with a certain age group and whatnot. So just to see like the last person in my mind that would have been like, oh, it's gonna be going out soon is Kobe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was just really tough. And after that, I pretty much, I would say it was just after that because a lot of things came following that situation. But I haven't really been watching basketball the same ever since.
So it's because of that, you think?
No, I don't think it's just because of that, but I think that even before, it just shifted my priorities.
I also don't have League Pass on. Yeah, I haven't been watching as much either. So,
and because he was, I think part of it is because I was such a huge fan of his, and even when he like retired, I wasn't like on basketball like that no more.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, all right, who am I gonna root for now? I mean,
got the Knicks. The Knicks is good this year.
You're rude.
You can finally get your Knicks.
You are rude because I ain't no Knicks fan, number one. I was about to be like, I enjoy Golden State, but
the city that took you in, gave you your roots.
Why are you doing this? Let's continue with the story. I can't. I'm not about to entertain
Basketball Hall of Fame. So yeah, R.I.P. to Kobe, but they also had Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. How much do you know about those two?
Well, I do know a lot about them because Kevin Garnett was with the Celtics, so that's the New York rivalry. I might not be a Knicks fan.
You know where he was at before the Celtics?
Not the Lakers.
No, he was not.
The Knicks?
Nope, he was not the Knicks.
Obviously, I don't know.
The Timberwolves.
Oh, I feel like I knew that.
They gave him a big bag of money around that time where that kind of money was not heard of.
I feel like I knew he was with Timberwolves. I remember hearing Shaq talk about him thinking him and Kobe are gonna get inducted in the same class.
Okay.
So when I saw the name, I kind of was surprised that Shaq wasn't on that list.
And Shaq is already in the Hall of Fame.
When did he get inducted in the Hall of Fame?
A couple years ago. He retired before Kobe.
He did.
He's older.
Yeah, and Kobe did talk about that when he was still alive. Yeah. They could have had more rings if Shaq would have been there.
Played with the Timberwolves. He got a ring with. Talking about Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, we were.
Who did he get a ring with?
I don't know. Oh, LeBron. No, not LeBron. I'm bugging. Paul Pierce.
Who did he play for during that time?
The Celtics.
The Celtics. All right.
He had a couple. Did he just get one ring? I thought he had a couple of one.
No,
a couple of them. No?
They got one.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know what?
But they did play Kobe in the finals.
I don't even know why I'm tripping. I totally know this story. Like I watched the documentary.
I was actually
Playbook
at your place. Remember we watched the playoffs together?
Yeah.
I came to visit you back in Rochester.
Is that when that was?
Yeah.
Jeez, you're aging
2010. Yeah.
2010. Remember that, this is completely unrelated, but like remember when the Heat were playing and Ray Allen hit that 3-point jumper, that 3-point shot. Yes. I knew you were freaking out in your apartment.
I was going mad, alone
by yourself.
I remember in the couch, like pumping my fist.
Oh my God! I was like, JP I was in a cruise.
Crazy.
I was in a cruise that day, and I was like, I know he is in wherever he's at. He's losing it right now because if he hadn't hit that, it would have been over.
It would have been over.
And then they went on to.
It would have only been 3 rings, LeBron, instead of
how many he got now.
Instead of 4.
And counting.
But also Tim Duncan. So you know anything about Tim Duncan?
Tim Duncan is hilarious to me because he's so talented, but he's also like
You're not pressed about it.
He's not pressed. He's wearing his Haitian uncle sandals. Or his, I think he's from the Virgin Islands, actually.
So what you're saying is, babe, his style could use a little upgrade.
I mean, it's different.
So he has
Is that him? Oh yeah,
he got a
look
new
at
little
him.
haircut. And his suit
Look at
actually
him. It fits.
looks good. Yeah.
Oh, this is dope. Good for them. This is a really, really solid class. Like, I'm familiar with the
Yeah.
players
But
in
they're
this
saying this is like
class.
the most high profile.
Class I've ever had. I mean,
Yeah.
I know them three. I don't know nobody else in that
Yeah.
class.
You know, so who Tim Duncan played for?
Spurs, obviously.
All right, how many rings?
5?
Yeah, 5.
5 rings.
Just as the same amount as Kobe.
Mm.
So what do you think is more hard to achieve? 2 back-to-back like Kobe did? So he got 2 rings with Shaq. He got 3 rings with Shaq, and then 2 after Shaq. Or you got Tim Duncan, who got 5 rings every 2 or 3 years, spread out, but never any back-to-backs.
I think back-to-backs are more challenging, honestly, because everybody coming for you. And then people have this footage of you. They are looking at it. It's like if you think about Golden State, it's like the same. It's like the repeats. That is more challenging because then you the first time. Not to say that the Lakers and even the Spurs, like those are high profile teams. Like internationally speaking, people know those teams. People know the Spurs. People know the Bulls. Although we know that is because of Michael. Yeah. We leave that alone. And they know the Lakers, right? So when you hear
who you
this,
knew growing up in Honduras,
I would say, yeah, I definitely knew the Lakers. I definitely knew the Spurs, and I definitely knew the Bulls. Okay. And my brother was a huge Bulls fan.
Of course.
As everybody. So he had like the posters in his room and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Your brother was supposed to be out here in the league.
I don't know about that.
We're all supposed to be going. We got
our hoop dreams.
We all got our hoop dreams going.
Yeah, I was supposed to be doing something, I guess. So yeah, like I was really familiar with them. And with Tim Duncan, like he always has been like a chill vibe. Like, yeah. But as far as what's harder, I mean, for someone that has 0 basketball experience, nah, that's a lie. I played once or twice. Speaking of which, that's where I'm walking to. I played once or twice in high school with kids, and I was like, this is not going to be my ministry. But I definitely would think like back to back is more difficult. In the books that I've read that talk about basketball, like I read Coach K's, he's at the college level, but like his book, he talks about how difficult it is to repeat these things. And then you also have to deal with the mindset of players that are going into this again, right? Like people that think, I already got it, and you can't take like that's a whole nother situation, right? So I think we could do a whole reaction thing. I know this might be a little bit delayed, but also so many things. Lakers are having a documentary coming out on the history of the franchise in 2022, so we're gonna be reacting to that.
Okay.
But I was thinking we could just be like those people and do something on the Last Dance. The Last Dance. Be like, that was like 3 years ago, y'all.
Yeah,
so
I actually just saw something for a parody on the last. Key and Peele just doing a parody.
Are they? We can totally react to that. That's hilarious. But I think that would be the hardest thing is to like repeating things is more challenging. Because the first time you got the adrenaline pumping. The second time you're dealing with the expectations. You're dealing with the, people talking about this stuff. People making it hot. And it's just, it can be a lot.
Everybody making it hot. Yeah. And they're coming for your neck, especially the third time around.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're coming for you. All right. So lots of champions. Lots of champions inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's interesting because, I never really hear Tim Duncan in the conversations of the greatest of all time. Like,
right.
And he got like the numbers, right?
Yeah.
But when I hear people talking about that, he's never like...
It's
never part of the dialogue.
Part of his marketing as well. Tim had a low profile, right? Yeah. He's not necessarily trying to be out. MJ... Well, global brand, right? LeBron, global brand. Kobe, global brand. Shaq is on everything. You see his face every day on something,
bro.
Right?
Geez.
So Tim just wasn't Tim. Tim didn't really have a signature shoe like that.
He did not.
He didn't have endorsement deals like that. He just focused on the game.
And when he was done, he was done. Because
Yeah.
like,
Well, he coaches. He coaches now.
is he coaching the Spurs right
I
now?
think he is.
Did
He's on the coach versus.
did he go like under Pav, Coach P? So he was coaching as an assistant coach. He no longer is.
Went from full-time coach role.
So how weird that it is the class of 2020, but they do all the stuff in 2021. That's confusing to me.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Human nature.
I actually thought about that when I first looked at it. I was like, yeah, that is a little interesting, but I don't know. Did COVID mess it up or something? I don't know.
Everybody just say COVID.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. That was the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Related basketball story. J. Cole goes pro.
So he wasn't joking about this?
Look at it. This is Jay right here. Gets the first
Oh, he was
basket.
serious.
That was his first basket.
Oh my god. That is, first of all, I mean, he's good. He's more than good. He's out here balling, like. But I feel like he wanted to play when he was.
Yeah, he played in college.
Yeah, he talked about this in the documentary, the off season.
Yeah, which that's what his album is called too.
Mm-hmm. I think we got it. I think I got it. I don't know about you guys, but I think I got it. I don't need to see it 10 times. This is disrespect for me. I really think I got it. What do you think about that?
I think it was pretty cool. The fact that he did something he said he wanted to do, go pro. I mean, I think we all want to go pro in something. Hey, I might have to go get my basketball. There was a guy, this was funny, we always playing at the park back in St. Pete. And when this guy was like, oh man, you guys are good. You guys could go overseas and get a deal to play on some teams. I was like, whatever, man, get out of here. But I mean, technically, yeah. If you're decent enough, you can go out and go overseas and be good.
Listen, you've been playing basketball since
forever.
You had a little kitty hoop. There are people that are just not picking up a basketball to be in these rosters 3 years ago.
That's funny.
So just even of body memory.
I don't know about that, but
you see what I'm saying.
You can put it right.
You may not be starting. You may not be.
Oh, obviously, but right? You gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere.
You can very easily right now off your couch go and get at least 7 points a game. That's a lot overseas. That's a lot in any team. That's a lot in any team.
So I can go down to Honduras and start.
I mean, I don't know if I was saying over there. Maybe go to China or something.
They'll invest in you.
They'll invest in you.
That I would be watching the Chinese basketball players. I'd be like, I might be able to put a couple buckets in.
Go to China, and they will they'll put a statue for you if you be consistent.
All right, we got more basketball. This is ankle breakers.
First of all,
wheelchair basketball compilation.
I feel so uncomfortable watching it.
He definitely.
Oh,
man. He made him fall.
You know what? Man. This takes a lot of freaking talent. Like,
obviously, and you can't shoot. Some people can't shoot regardless. And these guys are sitting down. You gotta get the arc on it too.
Wrong pass.
And I think you only have to dribble every so often. So like, I'm gone. Get off me. Y'all too slow. Get off. So you don't have to dribble all the time.
Why do I feel uncomfortable watching this?
Why? Because somebody already broke their ankles. Or they
literally don't. Another name.
They literally don't have any ankles.
I think it needs another name, like wheels.
He has ankles.
I mean, they got ankles.
You might get canceled though. Too many ankle jokes.
This is so insensitive. What's happening
While
here?
they both was cruising, I leaned back. Hey, that's that defense. Hey, get off me. You can't. Where you going? Nowhere. Look at that. On lock. Oh.
Oh my god! The next video, please. This is too much.
Still behind by 3 though. Impressive.
You know what? Oh wow!
What?
It's a sharp turn for me.
Is that 3? Oh, he missed it.
Wild shot from.
It's just sharp turns for me.
They've got lucky though. They've got another chance here now.
Got 3. Taking it back out. Ooh, ooh. Look at that spin. Look at that spin. Excuse me. Look at that passing. Fundamental right there, baby. Look at that. Straight fundamentals. Uh-oh. Where you going? Hey, man. I'm over here.
You know what?
Cash.
The real
Cash.
the real thing here is talent. Like whatever this required, I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
All right.
Get out the comments now.
The comments is where the hilarity is and the humanity
Somebody
will
like
slashers.
somebody said, honestly, this may require slightly more skill than normal basketball. I mean, I don't disagree with that. You gotta be sitting down to do this.
Can't break my ankles if they're already broken.
Get out of this
These
immediately.
guys.
Get out of this immediately.
Literally nobody. YouTube algorithm. Wheelchair basketball ankle breakers competition. Me. Say no more. Right. I don't know how this got on my timeline. How many people are doing? It's about 3 million.
3 million
3.5,
views.
and the year and a half has been up. Takes the turn pick and roll to a whole new level.
Oh man.
I think ankle breaker is a politically correct term. This dude just broke the entire wheelchair.
That
and
really
sent
is
him
true.
flying.
That's true. That's true. This is wild.
The moment I saw this video recommendation to me, I knew 100% that a comment about the WNBA is there and have the most likes. Yes. The comment that I read earlier was still better than the WNBA.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's
I can't even. I can't even. Let's move on.
All right. Some hot goss.
We can't say
goss.
hot goss in here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
already
It's already
taken by
taken.
another platform. Jeez.
Lukewarm goss? Steaming goss? Hot goss?
No, you can like hot tea.
Hot tea.
I don't
Hot
know.
tea. There it is.
Hot tea.
We got the hot tea for
Hot
you.
tea.
Is it-
This is a working
Is
title.
it the hot slim tea? Can we get
No,
can
we're
we
not
get
using
sponsors
that. You're not
for hot
using
slim
that.
tea? All
We're
right.
not using that.
Joe Budden declares
Podcast
his
tea.
podcast 100,000% over after firing co-host Roy and Mal.
Rory.
Rory.
Mm-hmm.
One of music's most popular podcasts came to an unexpected end on Wednesday morning. The Joe Budden podcast, co-hosted by Joe Budden, Roy, and Meyer, was declared 100,000% done by Budden. The show's 437th episode was uploaded to YouTube earlier Wednesday morning, all to be removed in a short time later. Kicked them out.
Before the people got the hot
Kicked
tea.
them out.
You don't need to see that.
You know why?
Why they got it?
Basically, they wanted more money. They were asking questions that Joe didn't really like about the money and the splits
On the podcast.
and how things were going. Yeah, on the podcast, on the episode that he apparently he put up and then he took it down, and later he put it on.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? What do you think about asking
Patreon?
What do you think about asking about these questions on the
So
podcast?
to Jordan, to Joe's point, he was like, if you bring in more business, you get to eat more, right? So it sounded like to me it was. So I worked at a consulting firm where a lot of how the revenue model works is you bring in business and you eat off that business. The more business you go out and bring in, the more you eat. So if you have like more of like a support role, if you're not going out getting the business, well, you can't move up in the company and get more money because part of the business is going out and getting deals. So in the business I work in too, in entertainment and media, part of it, hey, is at a certain level, when you're at a director level, when you're at a VP level, you're going out and you're making deals, in our case with sports leagues, things like that. So from what I took from the little bit that I watched, Joe wasn't necessarily happy with what they were bringing in because they weren't bringing in as much as he was. So that's why they weren't getting more money. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't really have thoughts about this. I don't have enough information. I saw a clip of it, but to be honest, I don't know. Like, everybody makes their decisions, right, on when they bring out these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But if you and I are having like we're doing this thing together, and I have questions with you on financial split or situations, I don't know that this episode is gonna be where I'm gonna be like, so what's up with that money? How you splitting that? Like, what's good? Like, you know,
I don't think we have that same
how you racking
problem.
that?
There is no split. It's just one big pot.
I understand
big
that,
pot
but what
that
I'm really getting at is I don't know that the podcast is
so
the
your
place to have that
reaction
conversation.
is why you
If
have
we're business partners, right?
Why you gonna call me
Like,
out like that?
And it's not just why you gonna call me out like that. It's why you're not coming at me correct, like with all this stuff. Like, pull out the numbers. If we gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Yeah. Pull out your spreadsheet, pull out your receipts. I pull out my receipts, and let's have a dialogue around what's best for the project.
They might have already.
They may have done that, and this is just the emotions taking over and taking them to the next level. But I think the real comedy.
So
the real comedy is the response to the streets.
How do you get fired from your own podcast? Is it really?
It's not your own if you got fired from it. Right. Although CEOs get fired from their well.
Sure. Yes.
That happens. You could get fired from your own stuff. I mean, Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, so
they figured out, we should probably bring that dude.
But then they brought him back.
All right. So we got some Joe Budden tweets.
Just he's responding to people. Somebody say you're funding the sabotage of yourself ironically enough, and he's like, I can afford to. Is this one here where somebody said, "Nah, you whack for this," and he was like, "I was whack before this. You be cool." Somebody said, "Damn, you went against everything you preached about." And then he responded, "I'm phony." Somebody said, "You lost me today, Joe." Shaking my head. He said, "Take care." I mean, I think there's always three sides to the story. There's one side, one side, the opposite side, and then there's the truth, right? So I think for us looking at this really small picture of it, we can't have all these thoughts about it, but this is not new. This is the culmination of a lot of things that have been happening. And if they, as their partner, if them as a collective, we're having this conversation on a podcast, that just gives you a clear picture of what has been going on, because this is like the pressure cooker coming off. This is not, you're just starting to put it in
your meeting, in your weekly meeting.
In your stand-up. In the stand-up. I'm going to bring it up.
This comes out like, bro, we supposed to talk about that in HR. Like
what we talking about this here for?
So.
But, I think that there's even something bigger to this. Like when you go into business with, I don't know if he was like friends with his host. Again, I don't have enough context. But a lot of times when people get into business with people that they're cool with, these things can get really mixy because you start seeing like, okay, well, you getting this and you getting that, and I'm not getting this and I'm not getting that. And it can cause a lot more confusion and and what really suffers is the business, right? Because
that's what the comments we're just talking about on Twitter. Hey, you lost me. So
if you don't care, you don't care. If you got it, you got it. Move on.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of people reacting to the way he just kind of fired him on the podcast, right? Like I said, hash that out.
But maybe both sides. This is a real manifestation of emotional conflict in full display. Mm-hmm. Like all of them, they had their emotions in a whole nother level. And when you struggle to control your emotions, this is what happens. And things that you may not have done in that specific way, it doesn't mean that you regret them. Yeah. It just means that you may have acted differently if you would have been in a more calm state before going into this conversation or responding to it in that way. And he sounds to me like from all parties involved, people had not been feeling heard, seen, or understood. And then it led to this.
All right.
It's a little coaching y'all didn't ask for.
Right. We did jump into a little life lessons.
I mean, because this is what's going on in here. Yeah, this is just human behavior, y'all. So watch this. If you're catching yourself going off on somebody, check yourself.
All right. So
let's go to the next thing.
To some new or different human behavior.
Oh, man. Yeah. First of all, I love animals.
Some weird animal sounds.
What is happening? And also, is this in a sink? It's like a bird, bro.
He said no. Why does cat sound like an old lady? Like a ghost.
Why you sound like that? Oh yeah.
Because he is.
Nah. Yeah, I'm familiar with pig sounds.
Is it a banana?
That's
It's
a song.
It's
It's a
like
song like
cucaracha.
cucaracha. Yeah.
Like, it sounds like a banana.
Oh no. Oh no, senor. Why is this cat acting like Ray
Stevie
Charles?
Wonder.
Is it a dog?
Yes. It's a very handsome dog.
It's a sing along?
Oh yeah.
It's a horse?
It's like a donkey. Okay, dog. Oh yeah, bounce it.
It's like China style.
Oh, yeah. They're making beats.
Yo, this is what the hood be like, yo. I don't. They're wrong for that. They're wrong for that. They're wrong for that. My man thinking he got a boo.
Oh, in the mirror. He's so stupid.
You mad late.
I'm so late. I was like, what you talking about? Uh-oh. Remember those chickens we saw walk into the store?
Yes, bro.
It was some chickens that live down by AutoZone by our houses.
Bro.
It's weird. They said, "What they go? We gonna have them for dinner?"
I didn't say that.
Back
but
home,
I was like,
back home, that's what they
surprised
would
to
be
see
dinner.
food just roaming around. Sound like a baby.
Uh-oh. What are you doing, dog?
Why are you scared? Pull up on this cat, bro.
The dog be scared of cats. Like, we should watch a compilation of dogs just running from cats because they be.
Why not bring my mom into this conversation? She did not do anything to you.
Yo, that bird just cursed him out in bird talk.
Oh my god. Say that again.
What are you doing with this?
Humans need to leave the animals alone.
That's the Yoda for me. Come on, get him. Get him.
I can't.
Oh, slice your eye. That was all regular.
I love you. Thank you.
It's the eyes for me. Sound like a squishy toy or something.
What are you looking for over there? Why your face so shocked?
Yo, birds
Hold
freak
on,
me
first
out,
of all, I need to
bro.
pause on that one because that reaction. That you
Parrots
had
freak
on
me
their
out.
face.
Like, this is why I can't have no
That's why
parrot in
you
my
had the
house.
parrot talking like a human and made.
It
Like,
sounded
what
very
the fuck?
human-like. Like, no. This is why, see, people be asking me why I'm not trying to have pets. This is exactly why. I want to pull up outside. Just, I already be hearing things. I don't need the bird to add to that. Like, I'm good. I am so, didn't your mom have a bird?
She did. Mom did have a bird.
You should ask her why she thought that was an acceptable thing to do.
It didn't talk. It just chirped. No
You
talking.
gotta ask her what possessed her to encase this animal in a cage.
What was the birdie's name? I don't know. I think she always just wanted to have this bird, so randomly she just came home with this bird that we had. She had it, and it died, and she didn't get another one. So she got that.
She
She
was
got
good.
that. She was good. She got
suffice
what
her
she
bird
needed.
needs. What is this? Is it a monkey?
Trying to get the tennis ball.
You can get down from there. What do you want? You looking for your ball?
It's the stare down for me. Oh, they're talking to each other. See, I don't know. Dogs, it's a second away from play and fighting.
Isn't that the same with humans?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, give me a kiss. Mm-hmm. Now you got to impersonating other animals too. Sound like an ambulance. Yeah, police car.
No.
It's like a car trying to start up. First of all, dog. First of all,
This dog's eyes.
all body.
Yo,
It's
Birth
the old
is
black
snitching.
people in the background for me.
Now it's time for bed. You heard me.
You gotta put birds to sleep. How do you put a bird? How you put a bird to bed?
Birds to sleep.
Yo, let me know in the comments how y'all put your bird to bed.
He was like knobby. I brushing my teeth. You wouldn't read my bedtime story or something.
Yo, how you put a bird to bed?
Is there a bird bath joke here?
He said we crossed the road.
This dog got business to take care of, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Uh-oh. She like you. What the fuck?
No.
Oh, yes, the smooches.
Did she bite her lip?
I don't think she's enjoying her trip to the farm.
The chicken. A rooster. Oh, it's in heat too.
It's in heat? How do you know the rooster's in heat? That's what I want to know. Tell us about the rooster sexual education over here.
Oh, you
The
learned this.
rooster's in heat.
I
You
mean,
learned this where? Tell us where you learned this.
Honduras.
Okay, exactly.
We used to
Yes, at Flake Community Schools. We did not have rooster
rooster
101
I mean,
and childbirth.
that's what I thought he meant when they start flaring their feathers and stuff, and then they go and then they find the chicken or the hen, right? The hen. They get on top of it, and then they do the little situation.
Double our pleasure.
Really?
This turkey let everybody go. Like they're ready for the race. Squirrels. You want some nuts, boy? The dogs be scared. Dogs be like so tough in theory, but
They be tough
they be
against other
scared.
dogs.
They
Except
be-
the little Chihuahua dogs, them tiny dogs, they be like pull up on me.
Oh,
See, that's a
see now
fighter.
he got the mirror. He's mad that he's fighting.
He's fighting himself.
That pig is like, help me. That's gonna let me lay here squealing.
First of all,
That's the kind of bird right there, my friend. It look like that bird.
up in an environment with pets. This is just so
May is
weird to me.
trying. You like more, less reacting, more trying to understand why people got all these animals
You
as
know what I
pets,
mean?
right?
Like, why y'all got all these animals in
She
your
ain't
house?
said nuts for a minute. She just been watching. No reaction. She is analyzing the funny animal sounds in her childhood upbringing.
I'm just trying to understand why would you want this to be in your home? This is what excess looks like, America. Because when you gotta do this to survive and to eat, it's not just fun.
It's too much food in your house.
It's
Just
not
walking
just fun.
around freely. And the food is having too much fun.
What I'm saying is, it's not like this. When you gotta make sure. When this is like a livelihood thing versus where it's like, oh, let's just get a little cute pet goat or something. It's a whole different energy.
Well, they're using the goats for their milk too, and they're farming
Yeah, I can see that.
the wool from the sheep.
I ain't never kissed no pig. I tell you that much.
The parrots are just hanging out.
Like Bart, what?
The parrots are just hanging out.
Okay, let's move on to the next video. I can't. This is so different to me. Like,
oh, babe, you're hilarious.
how do you do that?
All right. We are on from the animals
Tea.
to the royal family.
Royalty.
And Queen, your time has arrived.
Not with them.
All right. Prince Harry says parenting style of royal family inflicts pain and suffering.
I can see that.
Here we go. We are now officially entering
The royalty.
the royal pain.
You know, the reason why I say I can see this having zero information on the royal family.
Do you have to preface every time you have zero information?
Yeah, I have zero
about something
insight
before you make a statement.
Yeah,
so
This is going to be my
serious,
thing.
but not serious, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know what I'm talking
about.
I'm just here.
I'm just here sharing my thoughts.
Prince Harry says he caught in a cycle of pain and suffering growing up as a member of the British royal family, speaking candidly about his father, Prince Charles, and comparing his upbringing to the Truman Show and being in a zoo. First, the Truman Show was amazing. One of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Probably watched that dozens of times.
We watched it once together.
And being in a zoo. All eyes on you all the time.
You got to be performing all
Don't
the
mess
time.
it up.
Yeah. Performing all the
you
time.
do got to perform because you do have to have a certain air about you as the prince, right? You can't be out here just dropping it low for a couple dollars out here. You got to keep it up. Keep it up for the royal family. That could be tough.
This is the embodiment of what would the neighbors think about us.
Yo,
like this
is literally what does the kingdom think about us? Right?
Like everybody, you're embodying an idea,
right?
So everything is rituals. Everything is like you have to do it this very specific way. Like it can be very, and if you're someone that disagrees with the rules and the way things have always been, like that can just get really, really mixy.
Disagreeing with the rules.
I do.
Rebelling against everybody.
Tell people my business.
And yourself.
Yeah. Tell more people my business.
What else you want to know?
What
else you want to know? Let us know what you want to know about her in the comments. I'll tell them. I'm gonna tell her all the tea.
Oh, wow.
The green hot tea.
Oh,
my
green
ginger
tea.
Ginger tea.
Oh, my ginger tea.
Ginger tea for
sure.
sure.
Maybe that'd be our thing. Ginger tea. We're getting somewhere. Yeah, I can totally see this. It's like it's very performative, and in order for you to perform, not everybody likes that.
Yeah, not everybody likes performing in front of people at all
the time,
or performing a role that they didn't sign up for.
Right? That part,
right?
Yeah, because you're out here doing all these things. You didn't ask to be. You know, people be like, I didn't ask to be born. But like, I didn't ask to be born into this family. Why I gotta go to this? Why I gotta do all this stuff? Why I gotta dress up? And that's the whole thing about the royal family. It's like, you know, it's like when you become president, you gotta be kissing babies and stuff. Like this is the things that people expect you to do, or like living out to those expectations.
Yeah.
So I can totally see how that can become very like, this is not me. I'm tired of pretending to be something I'm not. I can totally.
What do you think your life would have been like if you grew up as the princess and now the queen? I already did, so don't worry about it. Just exactly like I'm doing now.
I would have left.
You would have left with a high value man.
I mean, is that my current reality? I don't know. I would have left. It's too much. It's too much. And I also think at some point you be like, Sorry, I'm a little tired. At some point, you'd be like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm tired
Yeah,
of
that's
doing this.
pretty
I'm
much what they're
grown.
like.
I don't have to do this no more. Y'all can stay here with your stuff, but I'm out. I'm out. I'm off this.
Stay
And I
here
think
with
that
your
that's what
stuff.
happened with Prince Harry and Princesa Meghan.
Yeah. Well, even though all this stuff, well, this is probably the most, and like in this time period, we've heard about the royal families and the inner
Mhm.
workings, and even though there's this big glass
Mhm.
house around the royals, it's like
Mhm.
actually no,
They just a
they
family.
just regular folk, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because they don't officially have like power to do anything,
They
right?
can't do
They're
nothing.
just royal. They're just a representation
Of
of the
history.
monarchy,
A
the patriarchy, or
history.
whatever
You
we're
know,
calling it these days.
ooh, it's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on anyway. So we as parents should be doing the most we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you. And that is, people be thinking that their stuff is that they are, they're unique. Their pain is unique, but
Everybody
everybody
through
is in
that
a
shit.
family that's being pushed certain ideals or certain behaviors that you may not be interested in doing. Like when you were growing up, your thing was they were trying to feed you some foods that you were like,
Oh yeah,
I'm not
I'm
eating
not
these
eating this
foods.
food. Like,
Right? So it doesn't always look like
one, it didn't look good, at least according to
to
my
you.
eyes, and then two, it wasn't healthy. That can't be argued at all. That shit is not the healthiest, and because of it, a lot of my families have diabetes, right? They have high blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of that going on in my family. So yeah, a lot of it is what he said, genetic. It's just kind of passed down
Genetic passed down,
from family to family.
genetic pain.
We're doing our best. They're doing their best. We're
Everybody's
all
doing their
doing our
best.
best. So I
Yeah.
think it's cool for him coming out and acknowledging it. But he has kids too, so that'll definitely change your tone. Like, all right, I got to step it up for my kids. I got to make sure that the stuff that was like, what the f with me, make
Mm-hmm.
sure we don't do the
Pass
same.
that
So
down. He even says it right there. He says, I know this is about life. I also know that it's connected to his parents, so that means he's treated me the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my own kids? He said, this is everybody trying to be better, man. And you know what? Kudos to him for being transparent. I mean, it's none of our business at the end of the day, but I think in a way he helps people see like this is not unique to your family. It's not just your family being like you got to do something that you don't want to do. Like everybody's family is doing this in a certain shape or form. So I think it just speaks to how scary it can be. And if you're in a family of this profile, then you're getting into a whole other stuff because they got all eyes on them. Like
right.
you do something and you leave your house and then nobody really talking about it unless you put it on Facebook. But the royals, people are digging up stuff on them. People are like standing outside their window waiting for
Right.
something to pop
the tabloids, or what is it over there?
Paparazzis or whatever.
It's not Page Six. Is that the one of
know.
the British tabloids over there? Whatever.
JP
They'd
know
be in the
more than me.
supermarket here. They'd be here at the grocery store. If you go through the aisle, you're like,
Oh
the
yeah.
stories about the royals and just like gossip from our
Mhm.
magazines just over there.
Mhm.
So
Imagine that. Imagine somebody standing outside I would say somebody's renting a home across the street
just to
from your house
take pictures of you.
just to see what's happening, what you're doing in your house, and then sell that information to people that are eager to pay for it to publish
There's
it
a market
about you.
for everything.
Man, that must be something.
What's the anecdote to that? I think people would just always want to know what's going on.
Oh yeah, people love tea.
What if you keep are there things that aren't private? I guess there's always going to be stuff that you don't do in public. So there's always going to be interest in what people do behind their doors when they're not in front of the camera.
It's just a market.
Yeah.
It's just gossip, people's business, like, all of that. Especially when you become high profile or you step into a high profile role, then you got people that are coming for your role, right? So, because we live in a society of competition, like, yes, we would like to collaborate and all these things to be very beautiful and true, but that the mind still operates, there she go again, the mind still operates in the context of survival. Like, that's still a thing for us. So if you want to make sure that whatever's going over there is not going to hinder your survival over here, sometimes that means you need to know what they got going on. You need to be in their business.
Yes, because the royals.
Because the royals
you gotta know what's going on with them.
What's going on with them. And then some people just enjoy that. Like, that gives people purpose. Like, if some people, they don't they ain't doing nothing else with them, like with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes like they live vicariously through them, so they want to know that information.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up. What are y'all doing? Are y'all on people's business like this?
Apparently, well, we're in people's
Here
business.
we are. We're in people's business. So I guess what is it? What's it saying? I don't know this American saying. But it's like, you know.
Well, I can't talk English.
The kettle calling it.
Oh, the pot calling the kettle
black.
black.
Yeah, the pot calling the kettle black.
That's definitely a black person thing.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
So that's that. My favorites.
I don't think we've ever talked about cancel culture
in public.
In public. But even like together. So this article was just called the second wave of cancel culture, how the concept has evolved to mean different things to different people. And I think one reason cancel culture is kind of hot in the news right now is before it was really just the right wing saying, hey, you're canceling everybody on the right because you don't agree with them. You're taking, what it was like Dr. Seuss books got pulled from the shelves. They took Aunt Jemima off the box of pancakes, and so they were on the cancel stuff. But now I think it's more of the left wing saying that the right wing is trying to do the exact same thing that they said they were against in canceling things across the country or specific targets, so or people in that instance. So. Cancel culture, a concept, feels inescapable. The phrase is all over the news, tossed around in casual social media conversation. It's been linked to everything from free speech debates to Mr. Potato Head. Oh. Even Mr. Potato Head went through his own cancel culture.
Got time. First of all, you can't cancel me. Because
first rule of cancel culture, you can't cancel.
You can't.
What won't be canceled.
You can't cancel the truth, okay?
That's true. You can't cancel the truth.
That's just the reality.
No, but they canceled Liz Cheney. They censored her ass. They kicked her off the leadership for the GOP because she said the election was real.
Well, that's
the outcome was real.
They didn't cancel her. What they did was they kicked her out of the club. That doesn't mean that she's canceled. She's a whole person. Like, and I think the concept of like cancel culture to me is so fascinating because we cancel people for the very thing that we find ourselves doing. And cancel culture is all great until the person that's being canceled is you, until the person that wants compassion is you, or somebody that you love, somebody that you know is not like that, for real. And I think people getting canceled for being human. Like, you can't be human no more because you could get canceled. So I don't really, y'all got it.
Yeah, I think don't let yourself be canceled. Don't apologize for things that if you really didn't do anything wrong. And most of the times it's people, or at least
what does it mean to do something wrong too? Because then I could be like, I ain't do nothing wrong, but then people, here come 30,000 people in the comments. Oh well, I feel offended by what you said, so for me to feel better about myself, I need you to apologize and acknowledge that you did something that caused me to feel pain. That's like, don't even get me started.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not doing that. I don't care how many minutes of comments y'all put in here. I'm not apologizing for nothing I say.
But what do you think about it in the aspect of that the right wing pointing at the left wing saying they're promoting cancel culture, and you have the left wing saying the same thing?
I don't get into that because they're the same. They do it to each other all the time. Like, it's always, y'all do this, you did this, y'all do this. It's like it's never gonna end because that's what keeps people watching. If the right and the left got along, no ratings, no advertising money, nothing. It's just at the end of the day, this is an industry around monetization. Like, what's getting monetized is your attention. So if everybody is happy and having a good time, guess what? Anybody watching that?
Am I watching the news? What are they gonna be doing?
What they gonna be talking about?
If you happy, what you doing, babe?
I'm not watching the news. I'm living my life.
You making reaction videos with your boo?
I'm talking to my boo about how y'all can't cancel me because I'm not gonna let you cancel me because I'm not canceling you.
Nah, we hit a nerve with you on this cancel culture here.
Cancel culture really does
you gotta turn it up a notch.
It's
you ain't gonna come for me.
It's not even that you're not gonna come for me. It's that it's such a human thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm really challenged by by the idea of canceling. I'm not gonna say cancel culture because that creates this thing that is an illusion. It's
Mhm.
usually the top 20% of people that you hear on the internet. So it's not even a manifestation of how everybody feels. But I think the idea that we can cancel someone,
It's
like
absurd.
it's so
A little
ridiculous.
absurd. A tad.
Like how? Like who and you know
Yeah.
I probably have it has this reaction because of how I feel about rules.
Yeah. Because if someone's getting canceled, they're getting canceled for some rule or regulation
That's really
that
what
is
we're getting
going
at
on.
there. And I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
That's for myself to work
I
through.
think I'm thinking about Kevin Hart when he
With the
got in
Oscars.
trouble for those
Yeah.
past tweets, and a lot of what the canceling is happening now is stuff that people did,
10, 20
years
ago.
ago, right? And so they're trying to bring up stuff. So it's a slippery slope, and I think I remember I said a comment. It might have been sometime last year to my fraternity brothers. I'm just like, yeah, this cancel culture stuff is probably going to get a little out of hand. And somebody in the comment was like, nah, this is needed. And I'm like, yeah, it's needed till you get canceled, right? And
Mhm.
then
There's
we're
no,
pointing the
it's like a
fingers.
pendulum, right?
Yeah.
So he has to swing all the way to the other side before he can swing back, and then
Yeah.
he can find that like sweet spot, right? So I think it can get really messy really fast.
Yeah.
And I also think that it denies the very first thing he's trying to achieve. Because you'd be like, well, you made this person feel like that, or blah, blah, blah. Well, what about how the other person feels,
Yeah,
right?
that's always
Like,
a question. Like, why do you? I also always think like, why do you think that person was thinking about you when they
they're
made that
not.
statement? And they don't know you most of the time. For the start of being canceled, these people don't know you,
Mhm.
and I mean, you're gonna offend somebody. It's very likely any statement you make, even if I would say the sky is blue, somebody will argue. Actually,
If you
it's
look
the
at
way
the
of the
science.
exactly. It's not actually blue, so potato mango, as my wife would say.
Or papaya. Who knows? Nobody cares. Yeah, I think it's interesting with the idea of canceling someone. Because he really does deny the very same thing he's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Like you want a certain group to feel a certain way. Well, in order for you to have that, that means that the way this group feels or this person feels has to be more important than the way this other person
Mhm.
feels, right? And I know there's a lot of nuance here that we're not unpacking right now in this reaction video because you pay me for that part. But I think it's like we have to really evaluate like what are we trying to get out of this? Because then we turn around and we'll be like, oh yeah, but this is different, but that's different, and it's like no, it's literally the
It's the
same
same thing.
thing.
And so what do they pay for you for? You got a
Oh, if you wanna,
OnlyFans that you want to tell us about?
no. Why are you always pushing the OnlyFans on me, bro?
I don't know. You said you're getting paid out here.
I mean,
Trying
I
to
get
help.
paid to help people unpack their emotions, so that
Where
when
you
they
do
want to
that
get
at?
to that,
Where you do that at?
over at the Self Trust Mastery program, which I have, noripouncil.com. Come holla at me.
There we go. There's the plug.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, you can cancel me in public and then come work with me in private. I'm not even gonna tell them your
Exactly.
business. It's cool. Don't worry about it. It's safe with me. Your secret is safe with me. But I am curious on what are your thoughts on canceling people. Like, I want to know how does one become qualified to cancel someone? I want to know what's the process for canceling that person, and I want to know how do you exit the cancel stratosphere once you have entered there. I'm serious. I want to know that. I saw this term the other day. Earlier today. I literally saw this term on Instagram before coming on here, and I was like,
Geriatric Millennial. The new term defining a micro generation. Yeah, so they're taking the millennials and chopping them up even more finely, is what it sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both millennials, for the record. How old are you?
33.
33 and I'm 35, so squarely in the
We're in
millennials.
the middle of it.
It's always been a bit confusing to figure out when Generation X ends and Millennial Generation begins, and now a new cohort has emerged between the two groups that has folks in their mid to late 30s, feeling well old. Feel old yet, baby?
Yeah.
They said mid to late, so you still in the early.
Mm-hmm.
Or you in the mid?
Baby.
You're still a baby millennial. If you were born in the early 80s, congratulations. You are now considered a geriatric millennial.
I'm not accepting this.
Really?
Why y'all using this term to describe?
I'm going to cancel this term. It's canceled now.
JP's like, I'm not even going to engage. Oh, you missed it. You're not a geriatric millennial.
Apparently, I'm not.
You barely made it out.
Barely. So born between 1980 and 1985, I'm the best positioned to lead teams that will thrive in a hybrid workplace. Sounds like me though.
I saw this. No, I saw this part. It's the name for me. But I saw this part and I was like, that makes sense because you do have this blend, but that's not necessarily a blanket truthful statement. Because just because you were born in that era, I see what they're alluding to. What is there a research behind this?
Yeah, they got some comments. So for starters, they're comfortable with both analog and digital forms of communication.
Lies.
They were the first generation to grow up with PCs in their home, but they've also experienced enough years away from screens to know how to communicate face to face.
Okay.
What do you think about that? So we got part of the offline and the online world. So we can float, pretty regularly between the work from home and if we have to go back to the office to be able to get stuff done.
I don't think this accounts for like social media addictions.
What?
I'm serious. I know people that were born
I'm confused.
People that are born in this thing and they so addicted to social that they struggle to have this face-to-face conversations. Like that's what I'm getting at.
Right, but it's talking about some of them for the matters, right? So
all right, fine. I won't be that person. Let's continue. I'm like, I need more variables. What are the variables considered for the study?
She wants all the research right now for her 5-minute reaction.
Context.
Their hands-on experience with pre-digital communication means that they can read the subtext of an SMS just as well as they can pick up on a client's hesitation and their facial expressions during an in-person meeting. Yeah, I definitely find that true. Because that's one of the big things I find now managing a team all remotely is I don't get the same facial expressions that I get, for example, sitting here with you. And when we're talking, I can see when maybe there's something that you may be uncomfortable with, or I can see when your confidence comes out versus over the camera. If we're in a meeting, Zoom doesn't have everybody, even if it does, you can't pay attention to everybody at the same time, right? So usually focus on that one person. And it's hard to see those different types of emotions, the facial expressions, how people, talk, the kind of manner when they're on camera. So I can see how this is definitely true. Particularly, we talked about the importance of making sure our kids are fit and they're not on screen. And that's a question when we decide to have kids that we're going to have to think about is how much screen time do we give our kids versus, how much time do we make sure they're away? Because this is when it starts, right? It starts from
I'm going to follow Steve Jobs' lead on this one. No screen time.
No screen time. From the man who brought you screens, no screen time.
What I think about this is I wish I knew more about what's happening with the older generation, with the other ones, like with the ones that come after, like besides like the 86, 87, like the Gen X, because I don't think I see enough of it. You're exposed to it more because you manage a team. You see more of it. You have interns and stuff like
Gen
that.
X is before us, right?
No, Gen X is after us.
I thought that was Gen Z.
Oh my goodness, Gen Z, yeah.
I think I know that.
I'm talking about the ones that they're talking about, the ones that cannot do these, allegedly cannot do these things.
Well, I'm saying both, right? So it's saying the Gen Xers because they've been around the most, but they didn't grow up with the tech like we did. It was introduced like in a sweet spot. Like we got a little bit of the old school, but we came up in the new school.
I'm talking about the latest one, the latest generation.
You're talking about
like
Gen Z.
Gen Z,
yes, yeah. Right.
I think
who have been totally online, right?
Yes.
They don't have that go outside and play all day type deal. They have electronics to keep them entertained type deal, right?
Yeah, I think I would like to learn more about what's happening with them because I do. My sister, she is a Gen Z, right? And she is very like screen type of energy.
Yeah.
But I think she had my niece. She's been a little less screen Like she can go off screen, but she still be like on screen. Like my sister would not leave her house without her phone, type of thing. Like I don't see her doing that. I mean, I do that all the time, but like I don't see her doing that.
Yeah.
So I think that might be some of the things that they are getting at, and those are the comparisons that they are making when they're talking about these things.
Dude, what restaurants and retailers are going to give me
The geriatric millennial discount. I feel this term sounds very medical. Like, who wants this? Nobody wants this.
I embrace this new designation and I implore all you damn kids to get off my lawn.
Oh, man.
Geriatric millennial exactly resonates with me very much.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I
that's
got it.
exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I got it.
Blessed and honored to be considered a geriatric millennial. It's
Yeah, I got it.
hilarious.
Yeah, I
It's
got it.
hilarious.
I don't care for the name, but I don't have to. That's not my pile. I don't belong in that,
So as a
The age
middle-aged millennial, how do you feel?
what?
You're a young strapping millennial.
Okay.
I'm a middle-aged millennial.
Who's coming up with this? Y'all got nothing else to do? You don't got nothing else to do but come up with this stuff?
Nope, that's it.
This is it?
That's it.
And I
Just
guess
come
we
up
don't got
with
nothing
this
else to do because we're talking about it.
stuff.
So, again, what was it? The pot calling the kettle black?
Yep.
That's
Spider-Man
the-
meme also as well. That
That's
comes
gonna be
from
the whole
Spider-Man back there. You
concept
check
of this
them out.
this podcast or this reaction situation.
Whatever this is.
Whatever this
Podcasts, reactions, the Pouncils,
Mhm.
whatever we want
Whatever it is.
that day.
Geriatric millennials. Fascinating.
This is literally what we do is watch it and
To talk about it. Yeah, this is it's interesting. It's interesting.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's it for today, babe.
All right.
That's all we got.
That's all we have, ladies and gentlemen.
Anything else before we get out of here?
This was interesting.
What was your favorite video from today? Which topics did you like?
My favorite is like none.
None of them. You like basketball? or anything like that?
No. I like talking about basketball.
Okay.
I actually feel like we can talk more about basketball but that means I have to watch more basketball, and my time is already accounted
We
for.
haven't been watching basketball.
Playoffs
Playoffs are coming though, so
Playoffs
we'll play more.
are coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
they'll be here next week actually. So
Oh, maybe we could watch. not the late ones because I have an early bedtime.
Can't be
tomorrow.
past our bedtime.
But we can do that. Actually, this geriatric millennial situation it has me cackling. It's interesting.
Let me hear your weird animal sound.
No.
We're not gonna get it.
Y'all
Last
got-
episode we got
y'all got that
we
last
got the
episode.
singing. We can't get the weird
I
animal
can't
sounds.
I can't be giving it to y'all like that
You got
every
a brand,
episode.
You got a brand.
like,
You got an image to keep.
not even like y'all just can't be getting it like that all the time. Just gonna
Sorry,
get a little
sorry,
bit.
Queen. You have an image too of Keek in the royal kingdom.
That is the internet. Nah, maybe next episode y'all
Next
get some
time,
sound
alright,
effects. Y'all just can't
alright.
have something every episode. Like chill. Once we get the super chat, maybe. That's a thing, right?
That is a thing. Yes, it is a thing. She just heard the term super chat, just throw it around.
Literally a child.
All right,
Literally a child.
All right. We
This
out of
is
here.
cool. Yo,
We
if y'all
outta
got
here.
recommendations of stuff that
Let us
you
know.
feel like you want us to be reacting to, I don't know why. Drop it in the comments,
Drop it below.
and JP will get it together, and then
Because
I will show up
I set
and
it
talk
all up
about this
apparently,
with you all.
as I learned today.
I don't know.
She just shows up as the talent.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye.